सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्।
महागणपते नमोस्तुते। महागणपते नमोस्तुते। मातङ्गवदना नमोस्तुते। अल्लाह तुम ईश्वर भी तुम महावीर नानक राम। अल्लाह तुम ईश्वर भी तुम महावीर नानक राम। अल्लाह तुम ईश्वर भी तुम महावीर नानक राम। ईश्वर भी तुम महावीर नानक राम। तुम ईश्वर भी तुम महावीर नानक राम। जो राष्ट्र यीशु बुद्ध तुम हो सबके पालनहार। 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 सच्चिदानंद साई तेरा वृंदावन शुभदान। सच्चिदानंद साई तेरा वृंदावन शुभदान। ओ सच्चिदानंद साई तेरा वृंदावन शुभदान। सच्चिदानंद साई तेरा वृंदावन शुभदान। अल्लाह तुम ईश्वर भी तुम महावीर नानक राम। अल्लाह तुम ईश्वर भी तुम महावीर नानक राम। परतीश साई शंकरा तुम ही हो मेरे प्राण। परतीश साई शंकरा तुम ही हो मेरे प्राण। अल्लाह तुम ईश्वर भी तुम महावीर नानक राम। अल्लाह तुम ईश्वर भी तुम महावीर नानक राम। जो राष्ट्र यीशु बुद्ध तुम हो सबके पालनहार। जो राष्ट्र यीशु बुद्ध तुम हो सबके पालनहार। सच्चिदानंद साई तेरा वृंदावन शुभदान। सच्चिदानंद साई तेरा वृंदावन शुभदान। ओ सच्चिदानंद साई तेरा वृंदावन शुभदान। सच्चिदानंद साई तेरा वृंदावन शुभदान। अल्लाह तुम ईश्वर भी तुम महावीर नानक राम।
Om Shri Sai Ram. With my loving pranams at the divine feet of our dear Swami, Bhagwan Sathya Sai Baba, respected elders, dear sisters and brothers, we are in for a treat today. We are blessed to have Brother Arun Uthayan address us today on this very special day of Aradhana Mahotsavam. Brother Arun Uthayan is originally from Sri Lanka and belongs to a family who have been followers of Swami since the year 1968. His family's first pilgrimage to Puttaparthi was in 1969. He got enrolled in the Bal Vikas program in 1970 when it was launched in Sri Lanka. In 1979, he joined in the intermediate education program, grade 11, at the newly established Sri Sathya Sai College of Arts and Science in Prashanthi Nilayam. He completed his undergraduate degree in commerce and was blessed to continue in Swami's University and earned his master's degree in commerce in 1986. While being a student in Puttaparthi, he was a member of the music group, chanted Vedam as a member of the Veda chanting group, and participated on the maintenance team. After completing his education, he moved back to Sri Lanka and then to Abu Dhabi and currently lives in Toronto, Canada. In all his travels, he was very active in the local centers and has served in many roles such as Bal Vikas Guru, Study Circle Facilitator, Sai Center President, and Regional Devotional Wing Coordinator. Currently, he is serving as the chair of the Vedas and Sacred Chants Committee of the Sri Sathya Sai Global Council, Zone 1. Zone 1 covers Canada, West Indies, and United States. Brother Aruno's unwavering faith in Swami is inspiring, and he uses every lesson learned at Swami's divine feet in all aspects of his life, both personal and professional. Without further delay, we welcome Brother Aruno to address us. Sai Ram, Brother Aruno. Welcome to Sri Sathya Sai South Bethesda Center. Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my loving salutations at the lotus feet of my dearest Mother Sai. I extend my greetings to all those who have joined today to listen to my talk. Elders, brothers, sisters, children, Sai Ram to all of you. సద్భక్తులందరూ భగవంతుడాయంచు సద్భక్తులందరూ భగవంతుడాయంచు చెవులకింపుగ భజన చేయుదినము పేదల వెతలన్నీ ప్రీతితో నెరవేర్చి అన్నదమ్ముల మాట్కి నున్న దినము దైవ చింతన చేయు దాస బృందంబులకు ప్రీతి మృష్టాన్నము పెట్టు దినము మహనీయులవరైన మన కడకే తెంచి చెలిమి భగవత్ కథలు చెప్పు దినము దినము కాని తక్కినవన్నీయు తద్దినములే. This is a padyam which Swami has used in many of his discourses. It's always a joy to listen to the words of Swami. So I will just go over the meaning of this padyam poem, in which Swami packs so much of meaning for us to unpeel or peel and learn. Swami says, when all the good devotees come together and praise the Lord in thoughts and words and bhajans which are very pleasing to our ears, such a day is the real day. He goes on to say that when the pain and the distress of those who are downtrodden, when their deficiencies or the needs are fully met, and we all live as brothers and sisters, that day is a real day. When we feed all those good devotees who are always engaged in the thoughts of the Lord, such a day is, Swami says, is a good day. Then, when we invite people to come among us and talk about the Lord, that day is a real day. That is the only day which is worthy of being called a day. And all the other days are Swami what he calls Taddinam. Taddinam means a day when we remember the departed ones annually. So it's a day of mourning, is the way Swami says. I found this very appropriate for on this occasion because we are marking the 12th year of Swami dropping his mortal, the divine, very beautiful mortal coil, and returning to his own original state. It is a day, I would say it's a sad day to some extent, because we don't have the pleasure or the joy or the bliss of even beholding that divine form of Swami. And we have a sense of him not being around us. And this is the day which we have started marking only after Swami's departure from this world, from a physical plane, though he's still around in the physical plane. And I have always thought, how should we celebrate this? Should we celebrate it just like any other festival? We all come together, we say, okay, it's a special day, Aradhana festival, we celebrate. We may have some bhajans, maybe people like me come and talk. And is this the right way to mark the day? Was something which has always bothered me. So I thought I will just share my thoughts with all of you today. The reality is, we have to always go back and look at the situations in the past when avatars had completed their avataric sojourn on this earth and returned to their abode. If we go and read the Ramakatha Rasavahini, when Sri Rama decided to leave after coronating the young children of his and the brothers as kings, Swami says many citizens of Ayodhya decided to go with the Lord and entered Sarayu River. They said, we cannot live without you. There were a couple of exceptions, maybe Hanuman was one exception. We can look at that. Then if you take the Mahabharata times, in Swami's own words, he writes in the Bhagavata Vahini that when Krishna left the earth and dropped his form, Krishna form, and returned, many of those who were very close to him were very sad. Uddhava was sad. Arjuna was sad. He couldn't function. When the news came to Kunti, she just dropped her body and merged in the Lord. That was her devotion. And then the Pandavas took up what's called Mahaprasthana, which was a northward trek until their bodies dropped dead. Did they go out of a sense of, that they could not bear the loss? Or was it that they decided that it was time that the Lord has departed, they took it as a cue and left? Then I sometimes wonder, every year passes and we don't seem to be any less or not any less, very less enthusiastic, or we are not showing as much enthusiasm to reach the Lord. Is something which sometimes troubles. Are we being are we really loving Swami? Is something which I bother. We feel miss Swami. We feel we should remember him, but the pain doesn't seem to be that deep. And I tell myself, I need to work on myself. So I think the only thing which we can do is to remember the stories of the Lord and stay connected to him. In that, I'm always reminded of, let's take Uddhava. Uddhava was one who was very, very close to Sri Krishna. And the Lord gave him lots of advice as to what type of life he should lead. He was advised by Krishna to go to Badrikashrama, lead a very secluded life, and was given a series of instructions to have a very devout practice of sadhana so that he can reach him. So Uddhava went away and he spent his time, the rest of his life, in seclusion, thinking of the Lord, meeting other great devotees and conversing about Krishna. And he's supposed to have reached the Lord. Hanuman was another example. He asked the Lord a boon that as long as his glory and his story exists on earth, he wanted to always dwell on it. And he felt that was as good as merging in the Lord. So these are some examples of how great devotees have dealt with the withdrawal of the Lord amongst us from his physical presence. And I think we can always learn from them and we can lead a life. Then I'm also reminded, I've been invited, so I'm coming here and I'm going to share some experiences, so the stories of the Lord. Then sometimes we think, oh, it's Sai Bhagavatam or something like that. We all tell ourselves. So I am reminded of Parikshit, because Bhagavatam would not exist if not for Parikshit. In the Bhagavata Vahini, Swami says, Parikshit from his young days, as a young, much before his death and the curse of the son of a sage, he was always going around looking to hear the stories of Krishna. He was always in love with listening to the stories. He would go and meet people who had even had a glimpse of Sri Krishna and then listen to them as to what happened to them. And he was overjoyed. He was so overjoyed that he spent all his life like that, that when the time came and when he was told only you have 7 days to live, he did not, there was nothing else stopping him from just walking to the river banks and sitting down and contemplating on the Lord. He was so detached from the world. So at least maybe that's the best we can aspire. We should, every time we listen to the Lord, we should cultivate what Parikshit would have cultivated. Because if we are in Parikshit's position, if our doctor gives us a month to live or 3 months to live, what will we do is something which I think we can ask ourselves. Because Parikshit, the listening to the stories of the Lord throughout his life equipped him with such renunciation, such detachment, and such devotion to the Lord that he did not want to waste even a single moment without the thought of the Lord. So I think I always tell myself, okay, that's what we should aspire. I should not delude that, see, the thing is, because he did that kind of a tapas throughout his life, at the end of his life, Sri Sukha appeared to tell the stories of Krishna, because that is when it becomes Bhagavatam. We need to have a Sri Sukha come and tell the stories of the Lord. But even to get that state, maybe us talking to each other and sharing will help us get there. So I think this is a good opportunity. So when I was asked, I said, fine, whether others like my talking or not, I would enjoy. I would tell the same stories again and again, because they have in many ways laid the foundation on which our life is built. So always recollecting that is always helpful in our path towards the Lord. So with those words, I will just share some experiences, some life lessons which I was fortunate to learn from the Lord. I'm always, one of the most uplifting experience I had was a small interview Swami gave. The year was around 1983. One day, Swami came out for darshan. He came out, went around, picked up devotees, gave interviews. And after the interviews, when the devotees all file out, Swami used to be around in the veranda area, in the Swami's building veranda area. He would walk among the devotees and talk. And students also would be there invariably. And among the students, Swami would walk around, ask questions, give some advice, crack some jokes, and so on. It used to be his leela, way of teaching us all. And that day, Swami picked up my older brother. Means I have two brothers. All three of us were studying there. So he picked up my older brother and said, "Where are your brothers?" Then he looked around and we also got up. He said, "Come," and he took us inside the interview room. So we filed and we were quite surprised, and out of the blue, Swami is picking us up. And we went inside and Swami closed the door and he went and sat on his chair. As he sat, he asked us, "When was the last time you wrote a letter home?" This was the question. When was the last time you wrote a letter home? And we didn't know what Swami was about to tell us, but then he's asking this question, and we were already elated. When Swami has called you for an interview, you have all these imaginations. What blessings going to come, and maybe Swami will materialize something and give. These are I think all devotees crave for something, some love Swami would show us. But here Swami asked us the question. And I couldn't personally remember when was the last time I had written a letter home. So I was trying to remember. I couldn't remember anything. So I realized that we had not written letters for some time. So was the case with my brothers. Because in Puttaparthi, the student life is very, very busy. You get up early in the morning from 4 a.m. till 9 p.m. Or 10 p.m. It is go, go, go with some activity or other. So you were so caught up with activities, we had forgotten to write letters home. Then Swami again and again repeated the question. So we mumbled and said, "Swami, for a few weeks ago." Then Swami said, "No, you will have not written letters for more than 3 months. And then he asked us, "Do you know how I know this?" And we were, of course, we knew Swami knows everything. Swami is all knowing. So we just kept quiet. Then Swami went on to say, "Right now, your mother is sitting in front of my picture in Colombo. Okay. And she's crying. She's telling me, 'Swami, my children are all there. I want them to be close to you so that you can teach them. But they seem to have forgotten me. And you also have forgotten me. Because you are not, what are you teaching the children? You're asking them to forget their parents. And you also don't show your own presence to me. So you are also not there. What is my lot?" So she was just like a mother. The children have forgotten even the little bit of gratitude they don't have. That's the sense she must have felt. So she was crying in front of Swami's picture. Swami says, right now your mother is crying. And so he tells us, you don't know the amount of sacrifice your mother is making. They've sold everything she had. She's even going without food to keep you all here. And you all don't have any sense of gratitude. Swami always says, blood, everything, the mother has given. Your blood which flows in your body, the money you have. So everything has been given by your parents, and you cannot have that kind of a neglect. You should not neglect your parents. You should have a sense of gratitude. You should remember them. So right now you go out, get papers and write letters, go to the post office, mail it, and then go to hostel. And then he said every Thursday you have to write a letter home. Otherwise, I will throw you all out of the college. So this was the interview. Swami taught many things, but one of the most important things which I learned was that prayers are always heard by the Lord. See, one of the things, people may say, oh, you are fortunate, Swami called you, Swami talked. This is generally sense. Sometimes you think, okay, what did I what great merit I did that Swami called me and spoke. It took me a long time to figure out. See, when Swami picks up anyone and does something or says something, we somehow think, it is acknowledgement of our devotion or some great merit or something like that. But it took me a while to realize that is not the case. When the Lord came, he came to teach the entire world, everyone. The whole world is his classroom. But just like a teacher, in the class, when they're trying to explain, they will just pick up one student. You come here in the front, and some discussion may go on. She may ask them to do something and correct them. It is not that the teacher loves that student. The teacher loves everyone in the class. But that student may feel, oh, very proud, oh, the teacher has picked me up, and may beam at other students and say, I'm favorite of the, teacher. But the teachers generally want to teach everyone in the class. They love everyone in the classroom. So the lesson is for everyone. So that is why Swami came down and he just picks up a few people for whatever reasons, maybe, they may be the best case studies, this is the best case study, the others may learn, I think that is Swami's approach. So all of us who are listening about Swami or thinking of Swami are all equally dear to the Lord. We all of us have to have our own search to become dear to the Lord, but that doesn't mean, Swami will cure my ailment, get my children to study well, somebody get married, or, those things he may do or he may not do. But they are not stamps of approval of our devotion, is the way I understand. So if anyone has gotten, so this lesson, which I learned, I think I'm sharing only because I think it belongs to everyone. Because that's a lesson, hopefully I learned it properly. I'm sure others who are witnesses may learn it better than the one who was picked up to demonstrate to the class. So I think everyone who has had such, opportunities to have some interaction with the Lord, it does not make anyone special or anything like that. Because then we think, Swami, I did something, that's why you gave me. What should I do? Again, I will get picked up. That is all his own. He can just pick anyone and give anything. So, but the lesson I think is universal to everyone. So then I also thought, why on that day Swami has to pick up? The reality is Swami always listens to everyone's prayers. But sometimes we may not know. So he has to show that, I am listening. So whenever I go to sit and pray, I am reminded of that. The Lord is listening. Because once He has demonstrated it, it applies every day, wherever we are. Swami will say, whether you are in the top of a mountain, whether you are at the bottom, rock bottom, even in a jungle, in a city, I still listen to every one of you. I am with all of you. I think it's to demonstrate that the Lord came down. Because the reality is, whether Swami took a form or not, He was always looking after everyone in this world. He was feeding everyone. He's keeping everyone healthy as much as needed. So I think the lesson is, whenever we pray, we should know that Swami is listening. And we also should know Swami is always waiting for us to talk to Him. Because we may do it only a few times a day. But the Lord is always keeping His ears open and is always watching to see what we are doing. Because we are like children who are just busy building sand castles, which will just get, the ocean is going to wipe away. And we may have competition. I am building a bigger castle than you. And that's what all of us are engaged in. But the Lord is waiting, like the mother waiting, when will these fellows finish playing and come home? I have food ready for them. It's like that. Swami came down to show us that we should not forget what is more important. So that's the lesson. Whenever, every day, I think I should think of Swami more often, because he's thinking of me 24/7, whereas I am only thinking of him now and then in the day. So I thought I will just remind myself today and speak aloud so that you also hear that. Another situation is, just to show Swami's compassion. Swami creates a situation, and he also solves these things. We were from Sri Lanka, and we don't know how Swami picked us up. In a country, we are far away. Swami reaches out and touches so many people, around the world. Swami says, everywhere I am around, and everywhere I am calling everyone out. But sometimes we are so busy that we don't hear. So I think that itself, Swami can reach out to a far distant place and call us. Itself is a miracle. The miracles are there plenty around us every day. But these are things which are special markers which allow us to see that fact in sharp relief, that this is what is happening. So just to remind us, our mother fell sick, and because of Swami called us, and we went to Prashant Element 69. And that time, I remember my father always talks about, Swami asked my father a question. All these children yours, my father couldn't figure out why would he ask. All these children yours. If anyone asks a guy, are these all children yours, means, you'll think, what is Swami trying to communicate? So from 69 to about 82, he didn't understand the meaning of that question. Because he thought they are my children, I have to look after. Of course, in the interview room, he said, yes, Swami, they are all my children. And all three are my children. That's what he told. But later on, struck him, actually, the question was, don't have this sense of mine. Because when they put us all in the school, they had to be away from us for a long time. After that, we never went back and lived with them. But I think he realized at that point, and Swami is telling, all are his children. Nothing in this world belongs to us. Because I think he said the sense of attachment was too strong. So he said, they are not your children, they are my children. You are just looking after. That's what he realized. It is, we are all trustees. That's all we need to know. Because even to bring up children, Swami would say it's all in his hands. We can try to mold the children however we want. They may never get molded the way we want them to, unless the Lord wills. And it's a relationship with the Lord. But as trustees, so that's just something which has always stuck with me, because all our relations, anything and anyone whom we interact with, are all belong to the Lord. They are here for us to discharge some duty. So we should never cultivate attachment. That's also something which I thought I should share. Then another incident also I would just mention, because when we were studying in Puttaparthi, the first year itself, Swami, my parents could not remit funds, because in Sri Lanka, from where they were sending money, though that itself was difficult for them, the government clamped down and said there are no foreign remittances permitted. There were some exchange regulations, and because of that, they could not send money. So money did not come for a few months, and of course, never after that. For a few years, it didn't. They could not remit money, but we were stuck there. So we didn't know what to do, and we were scared to even ask Swami for any, that we don't have money, Swami. We didn't know what to do. We were just worried. But at that point in time, one day, Swami sent word and sent through our warden that I will take care of it. I will take care of the hostel fees. Tell them not to be worried. Their parents are unable to send money. And Swami even gave pocket money. That also is an instance, because is that the only time Swami gave money? Then we will remember with gratitude, oh, Swami gave money. But the reality, every day when my salary gets credited, I think Swami has sent me money. Because see, just to prove that, Swami did not come from his abode down just to give one fellow some envelope with some money. God can, from there, he can will, and we will get it, and we are getting, all of us are blessed with everything. But because of that experience of receiving something from the Lord has stuck as an experience. So whenever something comes, I am always able to remind, the Lord is again sending money. So everything which Swami did was to drive home the point. It is not that Swami only gave me. Swami is giving everyone. It is just that it was a demonstration that this is what I do from wherever I am. But because we don't know, we are not aware of it, we may think we are making money, we are saving, it is our hard work, it's our money. All this actually vanish once we realize it's the Lord who is doing. See, it is just to drive home that point the Lord came. And Swami, in one discourse in 1961, he says, he's talking to the residents in Puttaparthi. He says, some of you are coming and complaining, Swami, I have talanappu, headache, my stomach ache, and you all are coming. You have come to the ashram here. You think I came so that you all won't have headache and stomach aches? Is that the purpose of my life, my avatar? People, if they go to some Kailash or somewhere and then some mudslide or something, people die, we will say, oh, they went on a pilgrimage, they have merged with the Lord. We will tell. But here you can't bear a headache. You want me to come and do something. So Swami says, I did not come to do this. And many of you are coming and saying, Swami, I lost some jewelry. Please help me find it. Swami says, is that my job? That is a police job. Security. I am only worried about you losing good qualities. If you have lost your good quality, then that is my department. How many of you are complaining to me, oh Swami, I lost my, good quality. Now I am getting angry. Can you help me? No one asks. No one asks. But that is the purpose for which Swami, I have lost something. I found it. Oh, it's a miracle. Swami, help me. I am sick. Swami cured me. So now, that's a miracle. So sometimes we we do not get the real message from the Lord. We treat him. Swami says people treat me like a marriage broker, a marriage priest, or a barber to cut their children's hair, or write home. Bless this. Uh, Coffee putty, Swami will say, you go to Kalpatarun, ask for coffee powder. So sometimes, yes, that also the Lord does. But that is not his prime vocation. I am Sathya Bodhaka, he says, I come to teach the truth. So I thought, I always like to tell a few stories of Swami. We all know about Jatayu. Jatayu was someone who fought with Ravana when Sita was kidnapped by, Ravana. Ravana kidnapped Sita. Jatayu fought with Ravana, but it lost the battle. Fell down on the ground and was in pain for a few days when Rama reached that spot. Rama was a divine avatar. He just put the Jatayu's head on his lap and it breathed its last, and then Sri Rama did the final rites for Jatayu. And Swami says Jatayu got that boon which even Dasharatha, King Dasharatha didn't get. Then when we look at that, we can ask, see, Rama could have done something little better. For Jatayu, it sacrificed its own life. But let it die. Will we do something like that? Something which I have always thought. But then there is a nice story which Swami has told. I don't know how many of you read. In my view, the best devotee, one of the best devotees, is a dog called Jack. So, when Swami was in the Patha Mandiram days, old Mandir days, there were two dogs which stayed with Swami. One was Jack and the other one was Jelly. One Westerner had donated those dogs, and Swami, they were with Swami. They were very attached to Swami. Swami says once the Mysore Maharani had come. I think some of you may know the story. Because it's sometimes good to listen to stories of great devotees also, So this Mysore Maharani had come, and she used to come in the morning and go in the evening generally. But once she decided she will stay overnight in the Patha Mandiram. You can see she's coming from such a palace, and Patha Mandiram was just a shed, but she wanted to stay. So she had come in a car, and the car couldn't come very close because there was Chitravati had to be, there was muddy, it'll get stuck. So the car was parked on the other side, other bank of the Chitravati, and they had to wade through the waters and come. And the driver and the Maharani came apparently, and it was evening, and the driver had to go and be with the car because just to be on the safe side. So Swami told Jack to take him, go with him. So this dog Jack went with the driver, and the driver went to the car and he slept in the car, and it was pouring rain that day apparently. So Jack, what it did, it went under the car and it was sleeping. Just as security, I don't know what Swami told, we go with him, so Jack went. So in the morning, the driver didn't know where the dog was. He just, when he woke up, he started the car and he moved the car. Jack was under one of the wheels, and the tire went over Jack. So Jack was in very bad pain. Its bones had broken. I think it's two of the feet were not even functioning. They had to be dragged. But with 2 feet, it dragged its body all the way to Pathamantaram. And Swami says when it came, the gatekeeper of the Pathamantaram told Swami, Swami, Jack is coming, Jack is coming. It seems to have met with an accident. So Swami goes and picks up Jack and puts his head on Swami's lap. And Swami gives some water and it gazes at Swami's face and passes away. How many of us would do what Jack would do? Jack was sent on an errand by Swami. Wasn't his, duty to look after? But Swami did whatever is necessary for Jack. That is a miracle. The miracle is Jack was able to think of the Lord, look at the Lord, and breathe last. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, whoever can look at the Lord, think of the Lord, and pass away, they are the greatest devotees. Recently, Ramanavami came, and we know the story of Vali. Vali was also a great devotee. However bad he was a devotee. So when Rama shot him from behind the tree and he fell down, so he went over and spoke to him. So Vali tells, "Oh Rama, you could have come and shot me and I would have taken it as is." But Sri Rama gives some reasons why he had to do that. Then Sri Rama says, "Okay, now that you have repented, I can give back to your life." And then apparently Vali says, "Lord Rama, will I lose this opportunity? Whenever I die, you may not show up. But here you are in front of me, thinking of you, looking at you, I would like to live my life." See, sometimes the Lord knows what is best for us and will do that as a miracle. And I think we should learn to accept that as the miracle, because through that process, if the Lord has brought us closer to Him, Lord has made us think of Him, that is the greatest miracle. Because our mind is always flitting from this and that. So many things we couldn't do. Like today is a miracle because Swami has somehow given the opportunity to just think of Him and speak of Him. Because otherwise the mind would have been, we may watch something, we may read some news, watch something else, or be busy with something else. So every time the Lord makes us think of Him, it's a miracle. It's a miracle because the mind is very difficult to contain by us. If the Lord has made it such that we can think of Him, that is the greatest miracle. Then I will now narrate another incident. Some of these incidents I have narrated so many times. Some of you may have heard it so many times, but you can repeat and repeat. It's still sweet. It's sweeter as you chew it. Tarva puttu, Swami says, whenever you take sugarcane and squeeze it, you get sweeter and sweeter it gets. Swami says the sandalwood is such that you rub it, then the good smell comes. So some of even the experiences, recollecting is sweeter and sweeter every day it gets. So it was my first year. I was just 15 years old in Parthi. I had joined. Swami had, my mother had taken me. My older brother was already there. He was studying. He had asked Swami whether I could come and join, and Swami had said yes, he can. So my mother brought, and Swami gave us an interview. I was admitted, given admission, and my mother had to return before the college started. Swami said, "Don't worry, you leave him here and go. I will give him admission." So I was there for a couple of weeks. And I was admitted in school. But what happened was after the classes started, Swami had gone to Brindavan. I was studying in Puttaparthi, and Swami came back after a couple of weeks to Puttaparthi. So as a student, I was able to sit in the veranda with other students for the first time in my life, and I was so happy, overjoyed. And Swami would come among students. It was the first year of Puttaparthi College, so Swami gave a lot of attention. So Swami walked around the students, talked to everyone, asked about everyone. And Swami did not talk to me. I'm sure other students. When I came for admission, Swami gave an interview and spoke, and Swami even spoke to me. I said, "Hey, Rowdy, you have come to join the college." That's what he said. So you really want to study here? He asked me. So all that happened. So I thought Swami knows me. Then why is he not talking to me? That was the question. But he was talking to others because there was about 60 odd students. I'm sure many of them had never had an interaction with Swami before, so Swami was giving them. But the human mind is such, we are jealous. Swami is talking to that person, why is he not talking to me? So I think that's half his jealousy, I guess. And also I was feeling homesick because everyone around me was talking either in Telugu or Hindi, and I'm from Sri Lanka. The language was foreign. My Tamil itself was foreign to Tamils in India. If I said something, they didn't understand, and if they said something, I didn't understand. So it's a bit of alienation. I had studied only in Tamil medium until then. Now I'm studying in English medium. So it was also a challenge. Food was different from our home food. So there were so many factors, and you feel alienated. And you thought the only one person who knew me in that place was Swami. No one else knows us. So I was feeling sad that he was not even looking at me. He was not even smiling at me, leave alone talking. So it bothered me a lot. So I started writing letters and giving to Swami. And Swami used to pick up the letter without looking at me. Only Swami knows how. Like he will talk in front of somebody and I will be sitting behind, and Swami will stretch his hand and take the letter from my hand. But he wouldn't have looked at me. This happened so many times. He acknowledges the presence by not looking at you. But he knows that you have a letter and he has taken the letter. So this went on for a few weeks. And I was getting angry and sad, by the day. So I must have written, strong letters to Swami, you are just ignoring me and things like that. So what happened was one day Swami comes out, and my older brother had come from Vrindavan. Swami had summoned him. So he picked us both for interview. I was shocked. He was not talking to me. Now he has picked him up for interview. So I think we were maybe among all the students, we were the first to get picked up for interview. Swami wants to talk to us in private. So you feel you are walking on ninth cloud. You're basically cloud 9 or whatever they say. So you go and sit in front of the interview room with a lot of expectations. And Swami comes and picks everyone up, and all of us go in. There were a lot of devotees also. We go in, and Swami closes the door, and he turns and looks at everyone's face. And when his eyes met my eyes, Swami paused. And I felt a distinct change in the face of Swami. It turned red. His eyes became bloodshot. And he said, "You get out. I don't want to hear you. Go out." I didn't know what happened. It was like a ton of bricks falling on my head. That's the way I felt. He said, "I don't want people like you in the ashram here." And he turned to my brother and said, "Take this fellow, pack his bags, put him in the next bus and send him away." I started crying. I didn't know what happened. I started crying. Then Swami ignored me, and then he started talking to other people. And I was standing there and crying. Then I heard people laughing, so I opened my eyes. Swami was cracking some jokes with someone, and then he turns around and again repeats the same thing. "Why are you here? I don't want you here anymore. Why are you still in the room?" Like that he was talking, and I thought it's better to cry, and I sat in one place and cried. This happened for about 40 minutes. I was sitting there and crying. Then Swami was happily talking to other people, taking people inside and so on. And because he will take them to inner room, a smaller room where he would have a private audience with individuals or couples or families and things like that. It was going on, but I sat there and cried. Everyone was happy sitting there for 40 minutes. I was sad. And at the end, Swami said, "Yo, you come now." So I went inside the interview room, that small interview room. And Swami looked at me and said, "Why are you here? You are so unhappy to be here. Why are you here? If you want, you go back home. You be happy there. You are writing every day that I am not looking at you. I am not smiling. I am not talking to you. And you are so unhappy." He says, "I have brought you thousands of kilometers away from where you were and given you an admission. And you are completely unhappy. Look there." And he just points to the wall, and I look there, and as if the wall didn't exist, and I can see the devotee sitting on the sand. And he says, "Look at those children. Any one of them would like to be in your spot. I will throw you out and put one of them here. If you don't know how to be happy, I don't want you to be here." He said, "My love is of 1,000 mothers, and you will never understand." Do you know what you have written? You wrote that my heart is like a rock. At that point in time, I found my voice and I said, "Swami, no, I did." He said, "I have the letter upstairs. I will bring it for you if you want." And he was trying to, I said, "No, Swami. I must have written." Sometimes we read this literature, poetry literature. They'll say, "Oh God, is your heart like a rock? Is it not melting at my plight?" This. So you read some of this and you also think I also can write. So I said, "No, Swami. If that's what you have written, then why should I keep you here? If that's the way you think, you don't need to be here." I cried and I cried, and then he just walked out. Then I realized at that moment, sometimes our human nature is such, when we have everything, the best of everything, we are still unhappy. We are sad. And when we filed out, I went and just fell at Swami's feet. I did not know whether that was the last time I will be there. Swami was not very clear whether he wanted me away, out, or I am still in. I fell at Swami's feet. I didn't want to get up. Swami had to pick me up and pull me up, lift me up. He said, "Bangaru, I will keep you with me. Go to school." So he sent me. But it was it was an experience which I can never forget. But I think Swami took pains to teach me the value of being happy. At all situations, whatever the situation is, we should learn to be happy. And I also felt that was a blessing by him, that whatever the circumstances, we should learn to be happy, because the Lord is with us. The Lord is keeping us with him. See, though Swami said, "I will always keep you with me," in 1986, he asked me to leave. He said, "Now you have to go home, be with your parents." And I just couldn't believe my eyes. I thought, "Swami, you gave a word, and now you are asking me to go." And I thought he did not keep his word. And I remember leaving from Parthi to Bangalore, I was so devastated. Took the bus and came. But it took me I think a few decades to understand that when Swami says, "I will always keep you with me," means wherever we are, he's still keeping us. I think the only proof is, are we able to be in touch with him? That is the only thing. But I think through those years when I was fortunate to be there, through various experiences, I think Swami gave the opportunity of me learning to feel his presence, to feel that I am in his presence, And that is a blessing, I would say. In spite of our own the distractions which we run after, the Lord is always keeping with him. Once He has kept, He is keeping all of us with Him. It is we who don't keep Him. So, see, the thing of Mahaprasthana, which the Pandavas undertook, was they did not want any distraction of the world. They just wanted to think of the Lord. Draupadi was crying and running, but Dharmaraja did not turn back. None of them turned back. They had only one pointed attention at the Lord. So, if the Lord is not there, our life should be led in such a way, we should determine ourselves on this Aradhana Day. Even if we cannot be like the Pandavas, drop everything and walk. Or not the devotees of Sarayu, who just, the citizens of Ayodhya who entered Sarayu. We are caught in the world. At least we should be like Parikshit, who went around only listening to the Lord. And through that process, attained a state of detachment, of vairagya. When the time came, he was ready, without any regrets, without any worries, without any fear, to face death of the body. In that, he has become immortal. That is what we can strive for. We can pray and ask Swami's blessings to give us that. And the reality is now 12 years have passed from the time when Swami was amongst us. And as the memories become distant past, the chances of holding on tight will be a bit loose. Our tight, the hold will become looser because we can't remember the Swami. We can't remember him so vividly because there are other objects which are taking up our mental space. Other objects have stolen our eyes. So I can only hope and pray to Swami that we do not waste any more another day, another moment without thinking of him. Please bless us with that greatest fortune of remembering him at all times, with every breath, all of us going forward. And with that, I will bring my talk to a close. Jai Sai Ram.